All right, getting on to the last one, module 3, preparing for your capstone project. Very exciting. So keep in mind here, just from the get-go, that all you're really doing for this module is preparing a proposal for your project for next year. So you're just planning what you want to do for your project for next year for grade 12. You're not actually really going to complete the project now in CLC 11, but you're proposing and putting together a proposal for the capstone project that you want to do in grade 12. And I do know as well that things change over time, and that's okay if things change a bit. All right, so what are the big questions here? What is a capstone, why capstone, and what does it look like? Okay, so what is a capstone project? And basically this is a creative representation, and it's all about you. It's going to showcase things like your strengths, your passion, your learning, your development, your growth. Your capstone is going to be based on reflecting about learning experiences. You're going to reflect as well on your growth in core competencies, your communication, your thinking, and your personal and social competencies as well. It may include career life development, and quite often will, but not necessarily. It's going to include your connections, your community connections that you've built in the community. It's going to involve some collaboration, so getting together with other people to work together. And as I mentioned, you may be exploring career life opportunities for this. Education opportunities, possibly work-related, career-related, or in terms of your personal life, and possibly your post-graduation goals. So the most important thing though with your capstone and what you end up doing for your capstone project is that it is something that you are interested in, it is something that you are passionate about, and it's going to be fun for you, it's going to be engaging, and it's going to be relevant to you as a person. All right, so why a capstone project? And really it's all about here. It's all about you. It's celebrating your learning and your experiences and your goals for after high school, your post-graduation goals. As well, we want to reflect and want you to reflect on how you've developed in terms of your core competencies. So how have you developed in terms of your communication skills? How have you developed in terms of your thinking, your creative thinking, your critical thinking, and how have you as well developed in terms of your personal and social competencies? So what could it look like? What are some of the formats that you could take for your capstone project? And really, the capstone project is all about you and what you would like to do. There is no right or wrong way to do this. So you want to select a format, an approach that really matches with you as a person, what you're interested in, what you're good at, and how you want to show and convey yourself to an audience. So for me, if I was choosing a format for my capstone project, I would probably choose PowerPoint. I really like PowerPoint. If you guys have had me as a teacher before, you know that. I like to do PowerPoint with everything. And hence, that's why I have a PowerPoint going right now. But you could do a video, you could do some type of exhibit, artwork, you could do some type of written report, you could use storytelling if you'd like, oral storytelling. It could be an art portfolio, monologue, spoken word slam for poetry, or any other format chosen by you and kind of discussed with the teacher, being me. So those are just some examples of ways that you could format your capstone project. Okay, what are some capstone project examples? And I'm going to show you 2 videos in a minute that are really quite positive and encouraging. But some of the things that I saw in the videos as examples were making a grad video, developing a comfort food cookbook, designing and building a catapult. Possibly you want it to be more career related, you want to visit residents at a senior's home and research how to improve their quality of life. Operation Military Memoirs was about a student who contacted soldiers and veterans that had been overseas. This person got them to write letters about their experiences and put them together and created a book. You could look at, if you like cars, automobiles, customization of a vehicle. Another group did coaching 4th and 5th grade basketball as their capstone project. You could look at developing a tennis club for elementary school, or developing a tennis club for your high school at Duchess Park, or any other club that we don't have that would be appropriate. As well, there was a project that combined film editing, cooking, and culture. Okay, so I think the best way to get some ideas of what capstone is all about is to take a look now at the video examples, and they're pretty amazing.
I'm Virgil Hammonds, RSU2 Superintendent, and what you're witnessing today is all of our senior graduates that are presenting what we call their capstone project. And this is a project that they select themselves. It's basically a project that they're passionate about, that they want to see through, that they want to see to completion, and really it's an opportunity for them to prove all of the knowledge and skills that they've acquired while at Halldale High School, and ultimately culminating in something that potentially they can pursue in the future. A big part of actually the process starts, as you're seeing today, with our middle school kids already starting to gather some ideas of what are things that may engage them now that they may want to pursue and thoroughly research and study in the future.
I knew I would have to do capstone in middle school, probably 6th or 7th grade, coming to this exhibition and seeing all of the possibilities I could do. And so I've known for a while, and I've tried to prepare myself with thinking ahead of time topics I'd want to do.
In the learner-centered model, we want kids to apply the content to a subject matter that's meaningful to them every single day, not just in their senior year.
And for my capstone project, I did animal adoption, and for my fieldwork, I organized a dog speed dating event for the Kennebec Valley Humane Society.
Well, what we're feeling is that it's not just about doing school anymore. It's about really engaging kids in projects that are meaningful to them, not necessarily to the school district or the teacher that sits before them. Really, the kids, initially they struggle with the fact, what do I want to do? What do I want to tackle? What goals do I have for myself? And so they struggle through the planning process, much like us as adults do as we struggle through a project. The whole idea around student-centered learning is to really engage kids in something that is meaningful to them. And so when they step into the capstone class, it's really about asking them, what are you passionate about? And how can you apply all the content that you've learned over the last 4 years in a project that's meaningful to you?
I realized how much I needed to be self-reliant, and it was really up to me to make my own deadlines and to be assertive in finding my expert mentor. And getting what I wanted done and getting the results I wanted. And I learned I actually really enjoyed organizing events, so that was fun because it made it a lot more enjoyable.
When it comes to this point in the year where they're presenting their culminating project, it's amazing to just see the pride and the confidence that they exude when they're making their presentations.
All right, so that was video 1, and we'll now watch video 2. I find these to be quite inspiring.
Flannery. I'm the English teacher here in charge of this madness. I think the capstone project is important because people need passion in their lives, and too often teenagers have a hard time finding that and finding a way to foster it and make it fantastic. And this is an opportunity for them to explore that in a safe place with people who care, and it sets them on the rest of their lives.
Hi, I'm Trish Seeley, and the reason the capstone project is so important to us here at East Hampton High School is it gives all students a chance to be successful. Students can pick something that they're passionate about. It's a culminating project that they work on all year. It's more holistic learning, it's more 21st century, it's kind of breaking away from the traditional mindset that in order for students to be successful, they have to do well on exams or do great on a paper. This gives kids a chance to do something that's more career oriented and more real world oriented, maybe something that they would do in the future. And it's just a wonderful, innovative, and creative, rewarding experience for our students.
Hello, what's your name?
Celia Basso.
And what was your senior project?
It's called Operation Military Memoirs, where I contacted soldiers and veterans about their experiences overseas and had them write letters, and I put the letters into my book. And I hope to give the books out to soldiers and veterans in VA hospitals battling PTSD and traumatic injuries.
I'm Jenna Pethybridge, and for my senior project, I made a comfort food cookbook. So in the beginning of the year, I went online and I found recipes that I thought fit along with the theme of my book. And then about every week or so, I would cook a recipe and then take pictures of the food that I cook, and then I put it all together in the cookbook. And if there was something about the recipe that I didn't like, I would edit it or change around the words. And yeah, that's that. It was very fun. I got to eat a lot of food. It was really delicious. And yeah, I learned a lot about cooking, and I now feel very comfortable cooking in the kitchen.
Hi, my name is Sagan Medved, and I started a badminton club this year for our school. I started because I really love the sport, and in our gym class we only have a few classes, and we were able to play it. And it's a sport where almost anyone can play. So I organized the whole event, and every week we meet 2 times and we play badminton. It's really fun.
Get more involved in the community?
Yes, a lot of students come. We have mostly juniors and seniors, but even today we had some freshmen join. We either play just volleying or we do matches in which we count the scores. And I look forward to making it more competitive too, for people who take it a lot more seriously.
Awesome. Thank you very much. What is your name?
My name's Sebastian Grolka. My project was learning how to drive on a racetrack like a professional. It's a lot more intense and stressful, but it's also a lot more fun.
What did you learn from it?
Well, a lot of it was actually just learning physics of how to handle the car. And there's also a lot of it's learning how to push your limits and know your limits of you and the car in order to get the best possible time.
I'm Madison Roberts.
Alexis Harris.
For our senior project, we constructed a video of the events of our senior year, and we put it all together for the students to buy once it's finished.
It's not finished yet. We got to get prom in it, and then we're hoping to present it at graduation. And if not, then we're going to present it in an X block at school.
Selling this slideshow?
We are selling it. We are going to sell it for $10, and half of the profit will be going to project graduation.
Zach, I did straight piped exhaust, and I put 2 12-inch kicker subwoofers in the back of my car.
Awesome. Let's hear it. Who do we have here today?
Mike Lozano.
And Jenna DiMartino.
And can you tell me a little bit about your project?
So we coach 4th to 5th grade boys basketball. We both have a passion for the game.
And I want to be a teacher, so I figured 4th and 5th grade would be a good age to start at, to give me, so I know what to expect as I become a teacher.
And the coaching went well? The kids listened to you?
Yes.
Surprisingly, yes. For 4th and 5th graders, yes, they did.
Awesome. What do you plan to do in the future?
Elementary education.
I want to be a cop, and this taught me teach lessons.
Hi, I'm Dan Maynard, and for my senior project, I decided to build a catapult. I did it because for college I'm going to be an engineer, so I wanted to do an engineering project, and I came up with a catapult for it. So the process I went through it is I built a few prototypes. I started with this one, came to this one, and after I figured out the prototype that I liked, I went to CAD, drew it in CAD, and made the design I liked. I 3D printed the catapult, because who doesn't want a 3D printed catapult? And then I made it real.
Gianna Russell. My project was visiting 4 residents at the Cobalt Lodge, and my goal was to give them the best quality of life as possible. I played games with them, ate meals with them, just tried to give them someone to visit and someone to talk to every week. It was really rewarding seeing the faces that they had each time that I came in, and I'm super glad that I did it.
Hi, I'm Ben Goldring. My project was actually on film editing and cooking. It worked together very well. I like cooking in general. It's very nice. Kind of therapeutic, to be honest. I also like kind of combining different cultures together and exploring that. And in doing my cooking, I kind of explored the savory part of Australia with the sweet part of America and kind of combined them into one fast food meat pie, which was very interesting. And then the editing, I ended up learning from scratch. I really never learned how to edit before. I ended up using Adobe Premiere Pro, but after that got too expensive, I ended up having to dull it down to iMovie. And iMovie works fine, it's just great. You just got to learn how to really use it and exploit it to, get the most out of it.
Big learning process all around, huh?
Yes, it was. It really combined my, wanting to learn new things as well as my imagination to want to make something new.
I'm Liz Jones, and my senior project was I did a research project for theater. So I interviewed Mark O'Donnell and Rachel Mansfield, who had 2 very different outcomes, as Mr. O'Donnell leans more towards straight plays and Rachel Mansfield leans more towards the musicals. The musical this year, Bye Bye Birdie, even with the incredibly small cast, we still made the most of what we had, and I'm really proud of every single person who was in that, who gave it their all. Everyone stole the show in their own way.
Hi, my name is Jordan Zamiti, and my project was working with the 3D printer over here. What I did was I worked with a girl. She was in 4th grade, and she's completely blind. And based on what she was learning in class, I 3D printed her objects to enhance her learning. So when she was learning about the Seattle, Washington, I printed out the Seattle Space Needle for her. And when she was learning about New York, I printed out the Statue of Liberty. Her main project was working with Missouri, so I printed out the actual state, and I printed out 2 objects that correspond with it for her.
Hello, my name is Garrett Jordan.
I'm Frankie McGuire.
We started a middle school tennis club free of charge for all middle schoolers, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We wanted to give all the middle schoolers an opportunity to introduce them to the sport, seeing as how ever since we went to the middle school, started going to the middle school in about 2010, there haven't been any tennis clubs or clinics or anything regarding tennis at the middle school. So we wanted to be able to introduce kids to the sport, to be able to dip their feet, teach them the fundamentals, and hopefully great players, tennis players for the near future.
So we are on page 18, if you're following along in your booklet. What does it consist of, the capstone project? So first of all, there's going to be a proposal, and that's what we're working on in CLC 11. And basically it's going to outline what you want to do for your capstone project in grade 12. There's going to be a mentor component of that, somebody that is going to be helping you and guiding you along each step of the way. You're going to have some type of research component. In the end, there will be a final product, whether that is a video or perhaps a display board or an actual product that you've created. There's lots of different formats for the product that we'll talk about. And it could even be something more like a performance. And as well, there will be a presentation component, so a sharing out of your learning with the community and or school. All right, so just a quick word on the different sections. The proposal, what about the proposal? So after taking a look at the 3 strands or project focuses that you can select from to complete your project, you're going to develop a capstone proposal. And this is going to be on page 20, 21, 23, and 24 of your booklet. So basically it is kind of a suggestion for what you'd like to do for your capstone project in grade 12. You're just doing the proposal now. You're not actually completing the project until grade 12. So it's all about designing your own learning, showing effort, growth, competency growth, looking at what you're curious about, developing your own learning, and seeking your own path. And I guess the one thing to remember here is that as long as you are showing that effort, that growth, and competency growth as well, there's no right or wrong answer for what your capstone project is. It really truly is what you want to do. Okay, the mentor. So yes, you are going to have a mentor, somebody that you can connect with, that can give you some guidance and feedback on your capstone project. You don't need to actually have this mentor kind of in place until grade 12 though, but something to think about, who would be an ideal mentor for the project that you're proposing to work on. So for instance, if you were thinking of doing the comfort food cookbook, a good mentor might be your foods teacher at school. And I'm not saying we're all going to use teachers as mentors, but it might be one possibility. How can you meet with your mentor? And we know if we were doing this project right now, which we're not, and hopefully things have changed for the better by the time hopefully we're back at school in September. Hopefully you can have face-to-face meetings with your mentor, or you can meet by telephone, video conferencing, Zoom, that kind of thing, email as well. Research, yes, there's going to be a research component to the project, and it kind of depends on what you're doing. Your research could be, more academic based, reading journals and periodicals, looking at databases, going online for academic professional research, or it could also be something more like very hands-on, perhaps doing interviews with people or doing surveys or that kind of thing. Oops, going backwards. Okay, so the portfolio and product. So what about collecting research, work, evidence, and the product? So you do want to make sure that you are, as you're researching, doing your research, that you are collecting evidence and that you have some place to keep your evidence. So possibly, if you like My Blueprint, we know that My Blueprint has a lot of great resources and a portfolio tool, so you could use My Blueprint to collect your evidence, or perhaps you have some other method of collecting your evidence, and it's really up to you. You're going to choose the work that you feel best represents your learning journey on your project, and the product itself is going to be kind of the culmination of all your efforts, and it kind of depends on what you're doing. It could be that comfort food cookbook, it could be that grad video or slideshow, or it could be the catapult that you've developed, or it could be some kind of possibly a performance. Okay, and the presentation. So at the end of this, there is going to be a chance to showcase your capstone project and learning in a gallery walk presentation. So this year, as you probably know, the grade 12s all participated in a gallery walk. So you're going to showcase your learning and your capstone project in a gallery walk presentation. So basically the way that we had it set up this year was kind of like what we would in the past have called a science fair, or maybe like an art night, where each person has their own table. I think actually kids shared a table, and basically you set up your project and whatever format that you're using, whether it was PowerPoint and you had a laptop, or whether you had a science display board, or whether you were showing more products and reports. You had that all set up at your table, and then as people came by, you shared what your capstone project was. So as we mentioned, you can choose from a variety of presentation formats, anywhere from PowerPoint to poster board, talking with documents, demonstrating, having a website, or any other format that you want to discuss with me and get approved, but we're pretty easygoing with that. So we'll talk more about the presentation part of this and the gallery walk next year when you are in Career Life Connections 12 and when you're actually working on your capstone project. But just keep in mind the presentation is not until next year, way, way, way down the road. And this year, in fact, the presentations and the gallery walk was in January. I'm not sure if we'll use the same timing, but that's what it was this year, just so that you know. All right, so what we're going to do now, I'm going to walk through your capstone proposal pages with you, giving you some examples. So we're going to start on page 20 of your booklet. All right, so your capstone project proposal, and that's all you're doing in CLC 11 is your proposal for what you want to do in grade 12 for your capstone project. All right, so to start with, in box 1 there, it asks you to generalize. So you want to think about areas of personal interest or possibly career interest and write down all those ideas or word process them in the box there. So some examples that are there are health and human services, senior and elders care, animals, cars, cooking, sports, technology, culture, decorating, interior design. It's really up to you, but you want to brainstorm and put your areas of interest or career interest in the box there. Okay. Step 2, you're going to narrow down your subject matter with goal statements. Okay, so you will see that I have some sample goal statements there. So goal statements can start with things like, I want to learn, I want to develop, I want to improve, I want to explore, understand, plan. So some sample goal statements that I have there are, I want to explore culture through cooking. I want to learn how to refurbish a car. I want to explore how to raise funding for the Humane Society. And the one that I have here on screen, I want to explore careers in health and human services, specifically related to seniors and elder care. So you're going to write down some possible goal statements in the box for question number 2 on page 20. Okay. Once you've exhausted your ideas, circle the top 3 goals in your brainstorm list, and then you want to select the goal statement that you want to go with as your focus for your capstone project. You want to make sure that your goal is realistic, it's achievable in the time that you have, it's exciting, it motivates you, it's something you want to do, and you have the available resources to do it. So choose and write your goal statement from the above list. So my chosen goal statement is, and we're using here, I want to explore careers in health and human services, specifically related to seniors and elder care. Moving over to your essential question. Now this is a challenging part of this. So we're thinking about everybody needs to have an essential question for their capstone project to guide their research and to guide the project itself. So what makes a good essential question? It shouldn't be something that you're able to Google and figure out the answer to. It should require some extensive thought and research. It should require maybe some trial and error, something that you need to experiment with. It should be something that you're passionate about, something that you want to learn about. It should be something that is challenging to you as well. And it should be something that provides you with new learning and growth in terms of your core competencies. So essential questions can start with some sample words like which one, what if, how, should, what happens when, what makes it good, how can I, and then I do have some examples there of possible essential questions. What is the impact that different design principles of interior design have on impacting the energy level of youth? What are the best methods of fundraising for the Humane Society, and how does this make a difference to the organization and lives of animals? And then the one that I've chosen as the example, how is the well-being of senior citizens impacted by recreational activities, and which activities provide the most positive impact to their health and wellness? So obviously your essential question is going to take quite a bit of thought. This is going to be challenging for you. And it should, basically your essential question should feed from the work that you've done previously in terms of the goal statement that you've chosen. All right, so you're going to complete the capstone project proposal, pages 20 and 21. All right, so next we are going to talk about project strands. These are on page 21, and this is question 4. So project strands are really project focuses, and it took a while for me to figure this out because I didn't create this particular part of the booklet. So the instructions are to review the 3 project strands at question 4, page 21, and select from the list below. So pick a project strand that fits your career area or your subject area or goals and essential questions. So project strand, like I mentioned, it's more of a project focus. So we're going to go through the 3 different project strands or project focuses. If I'm giving you too much information, you can just fast forward me at this point. So the first project strand is if you are planning to head straight to post-secondary. So the example that they have there, step 1, their focus area or career cluster is health and human services. Step 2, getting a little more specific in a career. They're interested in the area of seniors and elders care. Step 3, they give you a bit of a summary of what their capstone project is going to be. Career explorations, placement at a local home, providing recreational activities for residents, planning to research how the residents' well-being is impacted by recreational activities and which activities provide the most positive impact to the health and wellness of the residents. And then step 4, they talk about translating that experience and research that they did at the care home into the development of core competencies and their plans for post-secondary. Okay, option 2, this is if your plan is to head directly to the workforce. And there's an example, again, at number 2. So step 1, what's the focus area or cluster or subject? It's trades and technical. Step 2, getting a little more specific with the career or area of subject. Construction. Step 3, what's the plan? Their plan for the capstone is they plan to enter the construction field as an entry-level employee immediately after high school. They want to use industry research and career explorations placements to develop knowledge and understanding of the industry to prepare them for their future goals. Step 4, their capstone will be spent on development of a portfolio that they can share with future employers, and they want to have an application package, a reflection of their work placements, workshops, certifications, evidence of their job-ready skills. And the final one is if you are more product focused. So even if you do want to go to post-secondary, or perhaps you want to directly enter the workforce, you could still choose strand 3, project strand 3 or project focus 3, which is product focused. And this is if you want to showcase how your current interests translate to future career and life goals. So there's an example of this on page 22. So step 1, they're interested in the focus area or career cluster of visual and performing arts. Step 2, the more specific career or specific subject is interior design. Step 3, what is their plan for their capstone? They're looking to study interior design with the mentorship of a family friend who's an interior designer. They'll compare and contrast different interior design styles and research the impact that different principles of interior design have on impacting the energy level on youth. And they plan to design 3 different room dioramas and survey students to determine the effect of those in different rooms. And then step 4, their presentation would be showcasing their findings from their research and exhibiting the design dioramas, and as well a reflection on the skills that they developed and a reflection on the relation to future career life goals. All right, so what I'm going to do now is walk through an example on page 23 where you're going to actually work on your own capstone plan. Okay, so the first part at the very top, my capstone project plan. The project strand or project focus I've chosen is, so you're going to circle that or just select it from the choice below if you're doing an electronic document. So select from the 3 options there. Post-secondary, going to the workforce, or that you are more product focused. Then you're going to explain why you chose that particular project strand or project focus. Then you're going to work on the capstone project planning chart. All right, so step 1, the focus area or career cluster or subject is health and human services in the example that I'm going to give. Step 2, being a little more specific, the career or maybe the subject, specific area of subject is seniors and elder care. And step 3, what is your plan for your capstone project? List what you plan to do and the steps that you need to take. So you're going to give a little bit of detail here on what you're planning for your capstone project. So for this person, they're planning on volunteering at a local seniors home, let's say PG Chateau. They are going to research what are the current recreational activities that are going on at that seniors home. And then they're going to work with a mentor, somebody at PG Chateau, to plan and organize a new activity for the seniors. So as part of their project, they're going to plan research to answer the question, how is the well-being of senior citizens impacted by the recreational activities, and which activities provide the most positive impact to their health and wellness? And they're going to document research and experiences using my blueprint resources, and the portfolio tool. Okay. Step 4, what is your plan for your capstone presentation? Format, what will you showcase, what information will you share? They are planning on using a display board. They're going to showcase their essential question, their answers to the question. They're going to showcase the research, evidence, learnings, all their personal experience from their volunteer work, and of course photographs. As well, they're going to reflect on their experience in research at the care home and how they developed core competencies and how their experience relates to post-secondary goals and a program of choice. All right, so that example was very career related. Your capstone project does not really necessarily have to be career related at all. It can be just something that you are passionate about. But in the end, a lot of things, even if it's something you're passionate about, could relate to a potential career. And another thing that I found with this chart is very linear in terms of steps. For some people, without doing step 1, 2, and 3, or without doing step 1 and 2, they knew exactly what they wanted to do. For instance, maybe you know, as an example, that you want to develop a comfort food cookbook, and you can write that down for step 3. What is your plan? Develop a comfort food cookbook. You can write down all the different steps that you need to do for this capstone project, researching comfort food recipes, testing out, making different recipes, family maybe testing out your recipes, developing a survey for your family to use on your recipes, analyzing your survey results, and finally creating a cookbook. And you can go down into what your plan is for your capstone presentation. I'm not going to get into all those details, but you could work your way backwards and then go, okay, if I'm developing a comfort food cookbook, what focus area or career cluster would that be? Or what subject, if you're not really interested in it as a career? And the subject would be possibly food and cooking is your step 1. Maybe that's your subject. Step 2, what's the career, or what's a more specific subject area? Maybe it's comfort food. Okay. So like I said, they don't necessarily have to be related to a particular career. It's up to you. And then really the important thing is, as long as you are showing effort, growth of core competencies, and growth in general, there is no wrong capstone project. All right, so some final notes before I let you go here. What about submission options? Okay, so your first submission option is printing off the CLC booklet at home from a printer, completing your booklet by hand, and then emailing or scanning back that booklet to me through my email address. That's one option. Option 2, there is going to be a writable PDF format, so downloading that version of the booklet, completing it electronically, emailing, scanning back to me, okay? Please contact me if either one of those 2 options do not work for you, if you do not have any access to technology, and we will try to work something else out. So all I can say is please contact me and we will work together on another option, okay? Some things to remember. Please remember, CLC 11 is a mandatory 2-credit course required for graduation. A final mark will be reported for CLC 11 on the upcoming Term 4 report cards in June, and your mark for that will be based on the assessment of the CLC 11 booklet. And as part of the attachments that you got, there should as well be a rubric to show you how I'm going to be marking the booklet and what each part is worth. Okay, as I mentioned before, activities in the book. For some activities in this booklet, you're going to need to use my blueprint. So if you're having any trouble, if you forget your username or email or your password to log in, please email me at Mercer, NMERCER at sd57.bc.ca. That email address is on the front of your booklet. Or call me Monday to Friday at Duchess Park, 250-563-7124, extension 1356, during office hours of 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And as well, if you need any help with any part of this booklet, please contact me. In the booklet, the due date that we're setting is May 13th for that. So thank you for listening to this, to these different videos. I hope you learned something from them, and best of luck with your CLC 11 booklet and with your CLC 11 capstone proposal. Okay, goodbye.